CNN has obtained new evidence of persecution in China against ethnic minority Uyghurs. We now know that entire Muslim cemeteries are being flattened, while Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities fill huge detention centers. Matt Rivers talked to a Uyghur exile who calls the systematic imprisonment and destruction pure evil.
Right there. And this is graveyite.
When Aziz Issa Elkun's father died, it was too dangerous for him to go to the funeral in China. Aziz is an ethnic Uyghur who lives in exile in North London, but he grew up in a Western Chinese region called Xinjiang, an area activists say is the center of an unparalleled human rights crisis in the world today.
This is not a normal state, normal country can do like it is. This is a pure evilness.
Xinjiang is where the United Nations says the Chinese government has detained hundreds of thousands of Muslim ethnic minorities, including Uyghurs, over the past several years. Critics say China is doing that to try to eliminate Islam within its borders. Some detainees are seen here in leaked video, blindfolded and shackled as they are transferred between places. Former detainees have told CNN they're kept in a massive network of detention camps where inside allegations of torture abound. China's government denies that, says they're just offering vocational training designed to fight extremism. But last year, we tried to see those camps for ourselves and were met with police.
Ma'am, can you tell me what that is? Is this something that you don't want us to see?
Why you are here? You tell me why you are here. Why you are here?
We're here to film what we believe is a camp.
My father's tomb just used to be here.
In London, Aziz tells us his father was buried in this tomb near his family home in central Xinjiang. In the past, he visited him the only way he could, by using Google Earth to see the tomb from above. But in June, the satellite image changed. Before, rows of tombs, now a largely empty, flattened field.
What happened to your father's remains?
I don't know. I have no idea.
In a months-long investigation, working with sources in the Uyghur community and analyzing hundreds of satellite images, CNN has found more than 100 cemeteries that have been destroyed, most in just the last 2 years. Like this one in the town of Aksu, a cemetery first demolished, then redeveloped with a man-made pond. Or this one in Shiar, distinctive white tombs leveled and simply built over. The AFP first reported on this destruction and visited some sites. At 3 different places, they said they found human bones. CNN has also found multiple government notices online, in one case giving families just 15 days to move remains. We showed these images to Ryan Thum, an anthropologist who studies Islam in China and uses satellite imagery to study this region.
There's no doubt in your mind what that is.
Right. No, this is absolutely clear what this is. You can see the destruction encroaching, and now if you look at Google Earth today, you'll see that this sort of flat surface that now covers everything. And that is a phenomenon stretching right across the region of Xinjiang.
In response, the Chinese government did not deny the cemetery destruction. They said in part, quote, governments in Xinjiang fully respect and guarantee the freedom of all ethnic groups to choose cemeteries and funeral and burial methods. In public documents, official reasons for the destruction include wanting to build, quote, civilized cemeteries to promote progress. Uyghur cemeteries are central to village life, a place to meet and connect one generation to the last.
It's akin to, for an American, seeing Arlington Cemetery razed and the tomb of the unknown soldier dug up and paved over. It's a great act of desecration and a kind of open insult to Uyghur culture.
We are stronger together with you.
Aziz believes it's a desecration that will have a backlash.
We cannot live anymore with them together because they're committing genocide against the Uyghur people.
In Xinjiang, it seems even the dead can't rest.
Matt Rivers, CNN, London.
Well, the international community has not really confronted China about the Uyghur issue, nor, in fact, have Muslim countries. By and large, they've remained silent, partly because of the country's global economic power. But there are signs that Beijing is concerned about its own economy now in a slowdown. The unrest in Hong Kong and the trade war with the U.S. has helped to make 2019 the worst year for China's economy in almost 3 decades. On Wednesday, China tried to boost economic growth by making it easier for banks to loan money. Let's talk more about China's economy as we head into 2020 with CNN business correspondent Paul LaMonica. So how concerned are they? I mean, they're essentially decreasing the amount banks have to keep in reserve so that there's more liquidity in the market, hoping that it'll stimulate the economy. How concerned should they be that the slowdown is going to be maybe longer lasting than they hope that it will be?
Yeah, Hala, I think that China is obviously very concerned. This move will pump about $115 billion or so into the Chinese economy, which is clearly a significant sum. And I think we all saw that at the end of last year, the desire on the part of not just the United States and President Trump, but the Chinese government to get a phase one trade deal done. China was clearly starting to feel the pinch of this trade war and needed to do something to rejuvenate the growth prospects for the Chinese economy. And, you know, this step taken to relax these lending requirements is another move to potentially get Chinese consumers and businesses to spend more.
So Donald Trump is saying that on the 15th of January, there'll be some sort of preliminary agreement with China. We've heard that before, though. Will it happen this time?
Yeah, I think your guess is as good as anyone's. And obviously, President Trump remains a very mercurial person, to put it mildly. I think we have to take him at face value that January 15th will hopefully be the date that they sign the deal. But at this point, I think the markets have pretty much priced in that there is going to be a phase one deal. So what's really more important now is, will there be a phase two in an election year where President Trump obviously doesn't want the U.S. economy to cool so substantially that it dampens his reelection chances. So I think everyone's going to be wondering now, yes, phase one, that's great, sign the deal. What about phase two?
But you talk about the U.S. economy. I mean, there are really no signs that the U.S. economy is cooling. Unemployment is low, wages are growing. The stock market is high, though, of course, most Americans don't benefit from that, but it's a barometer in people's minds. So it doesn't appear as though there's any danger there of the economy cooling, or am I wrong?
Well, I think there is a difference between cooling and obviously deteriorating. I think that there are concerns that U.S. growth will slow, partially because of the effects of the trade war from last year. But a lot of people that had been thinking that a recession was long overdue and could happen this year, you are seeing calls for a downturn getting pushed out a little bit. Not as many people are worried about an actual recession in 2020. That being said, I think that President Trump obviously needs an economy that is really roaring on all cylinders, having consumers spend, corporations spend, and having those jobs numbers continue to do really well for his reelection chances to remain pretty hot.